Hi, welcome to the third video. Subject here is diatonic chord progressions, and the progression I was just playing on was taken from a standard called All the Things You Are. More about that later. First of all, let's talk about something a lot simpler than that, just a chord progression in the key of C. And here are the chords. C major 9, F major 9, D minor 9 11, G 13 9. And you notice I'm not playing the bass notes because we have a rhythm section, and it makes it a lot easier to put your fingers into these chords. It's also good to have a few shapes so that we're not stuck in one position all the time. The E minor 7 chord, which we use for C major 9, can also be played here in the 7th position. And the A minor 7 chord, which we use for F major 9, can be played here using the same shape that we used for E minor 7. The D minor chord is actually F major 7 with the D in the bass. And the G7 chord with the 9 and the 13 can be played also here. The principle behind this sort of chord substitution is relative thirds. So the third of each chord gives us the 9th. If you put a 7th chord on the third of C major 9, then you get E minor 7. And the same for F major 9, it's A minor 7. D minor 9 is F major 7. And the only exception here is G7, as we learned in the first lesson on blues. You can use a half diminished chord. In this case, G7 is B minor 7 flat 5. And you can also play that up here. So that's a diatonic progression, very simple. And to make it sound interesting when you're improvising, of course, it's important to use different sorts of intervals and motifs as if you were telling a story. Also playing low, playing high, playing fewer notes, long notes, and then building up to playing more notes. And yeah, I'll just demonstrate some of these things. Towards the end there, I started to get a bit bored just with the C major scale, and I put a couple of chromatic notes in. This is something we learned about when we were playing on the minor blues in the second video, putting an extra note into a scale, and this can be done with the major scale also. So what we can do here is, for example, put the flat 6 in. That gives us 8 notes, which is more balanced than the usual 7. Also, when you're playing on the G7 chord at the end of the progression, you could put a chromatic note between the root and the 7th. Again, it makes it a more balanced sound. Actually, there's no limit to chromatic notes as long as we land on a strong note in the chord. Another concept that is very useful when playing on diatonic progressions is targeting. We have a C major 7 chord, and just for the principle of keeping it simple, we can just think of the triad. And play around those notes that are in the triad. That was chromatic from below, and you can also play diatonic from above. Or you can combine both concepts. Just gives us a concept that can be continued through different chords, and anything that repeats, in my opinion, is a good thing because it strengthens the message that we're trying to convey. Alright, so we've got scales, in this case only the C major scale, but we can put some chromatic notes in, and that gives us a more interesting sound overall. Another thing, as we did with the chords, we're playing upper structures. For the C major, we're playing E minor 7, and it's also an interesting sound as arpeggio. And for F major 7, we play A minor 7. For D minor 7, we play F major 7. Here with the G7 we have a few options. If we play diatonic from C major scale, we have B half diminished, or we can get away from that and use more tension. As we did in the minor blues, we used harmonic minor. So this G7 chord, as an exception, could be part of the C harmonic minor scale. So it would have a flat 9 and a flat 13. The scale, with the extra note that we added, the sharp 9, gives us more tension, and then it is resolved when we go back to the C major 7 chord at the beginning.